Hey everybody, it's Jonathan Bolano with Bolano Home over at Century 21. I'm here with my friend Jonathan Agudelo from Freedom Mortgage. He's a loan originator with them. How are you doing today, John?
Good, good. How you doing, John?
Doing all right. We are here because we want to speak to all you first-time home buyers and give you some kind of general knowledge of what you need to know when buying your first home. So, Mr. Agudelo, if we are thinking about talking to our first-time home buyers, what would be the first thing that people would want to look into before or even when they come to speak to you?
The first thing you want to do is see where your credit is, and by where your credit is, I mean your score, yes, of course, but more in general, what kind of credit profile you have. Mm-hmm. So if you have a 650 score, 680 score, 700 score, but you have, high balances, or you have a lot of accounts open, or you have collections, you'd want to see that and see what we need to do, what we need to pay down, what we need to pay off, or if we don't need to do anything, if we're good to go. You want to see mm-hmm. that ahead of time before you go and start looking for houses. I always say to people, it's better to get a pre-approval. It's always smart to get a pre-approval first, because if you go and you speak, let's say, you call Mr. Bolano over here and you tell him, I want to start looking at houses, and you don't have even a pre-approval, you don't know where you're at, you're going to start falling in love with houses that might be out of your price range. Mm-hmm. Or you might be like, oh, I know I won't qualify for more than 150,000, and come to find out you qualify for maybe 250, 200.
But they won't know that.
But you won't know that. Yeah, you'll be looking at these houses that are not exactly what you wanted, mm-hmm. Because then you're not looking in your actual price range.
That's interesting. So a few things that I heard right there was credit scores, something that you find to be very important for people to look into, and that they're going to need something about a pre-approval. But we can talk about that more in a few seconds. One of the things I found really nice was that even if a person doesn't have a good credit score, you're willing to work with them and kind of set them up with a plan in case they aren't ready today or tomorrow for buying a home. So for all of you out there that are listening, let's say you've always wanted to buy a house, but you've never been in the right position. Your credit score always seems to be really out in the dirt, and you just don't know what to do. Well, I think from what we're getting from Mr. Agudelo over here is that he'll actually sit down with you, get your credit score with you, take a look at your entire report, and let you know the types of things that you need to do in order to get yourself ready for purchasing a home. So whether it is this year or next year that you'd be buying a home, he'd be willing to work with you. Is that right?
Correct. And an important note on that as well is with Freedom Mortgage, I have programs that I can use on the computer that will actually help me determine what you need to do to get to get your credit where it needs to be.
That's
so
great.
If you need to pay off a collection, and we say, hey, let's pay this collection off. How much? What would happen if he pays this collection off? What happens in 3 months? It'll show me in 3 months your score goes up 15, 20 points. In another 3 months, your score, and you're still paying stuff on time, and you're still doing your thing, your score is up another 20 points.
That's really
or in the meantime, we add, okay, what about if he opens, it's still not going as fast as we want it to. Let's say it's just at a standstill. All right, maybe he needs to pay that collection off, but also maybe he should open up a secured credit card,
right,
with the bank, or just something that's gonna help you help your credit profile grow to where you need to be. Nice. Of course, this is only if we wouldn't tell you open up any accounts or anything like that, because you want to keep your credit
in good standing.
But if it's something that's necessary to get your credit up there, then yes, I'll tell you, if you do this, a few months you'll be here. And it's pretty accurate, pretty close to what number you're actually going to be at.
That's awesome. So jumping off of the credit score, I think that we can do another video on that at another point. For a first-time home buyer, what kind of advantages are there out there for first-time home buyers?
There's a few different programs for first-time home buyers which would help you with down payment assistance, mm-hmm. Closing cost assistance, all kinds of things like that.
That's really nice.
That's it, and it's great because, for example, let's say if you're one of those people that does work on your credit, let's say your score is low and you need to get your credit up, you need to pay a few things off. Well, paying those things off, let's say you started off with $10,000 and you paid off a bunch of stuff, and now you're down to $5,000, and you're like, wow, well, I'm gonna have to put a down payment.
Mm-hmm.
What am I gonna do? If with those first-time homebuyer programs, you can take advantage of that down payment assistance and still know, okay, I took care of my credit, but I'm not gonna be left in a position where I look weak because I don't have that money in the account to qualify for that loan.
So that's something else that you're suggesting that people kind of have. Let's say if they don't want to, utilize certain programs, they want to have that kind of down payment already ready for them on
Oh
their
yes,
accounts.
yeah. If you're not using any kind of down payment assistance, you're gonna want to have as much as you can show in your account. Even if you are using down payment assistance, whatever you can show in that account just makes you look like a stronger buyer.
So,
And,
oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. What I was gonna say is it makes it an easier process, a smoother process, smoother transition all along the loan process.
Nice. So that's a couple of things that I think is interesting to them. We talk about credit score. We've spoken about some of the benefits or advantages to being a first-time home buyer, which I want to put out there again for you guys out there. There are a number of programs for first-time home buyers. We're going to do different segments on each of those, and we're going to do a different segment on credit scores coming up, and as well as like other loans and such. But I'll move on from that. One of the next steps I think that you had said earlier on was that people want to get a pre-approval letter. Now, obviously, I know what a pre-approval letter is. What is it for them? What does that mean to?
So when I pull your credit, if everything comes out fine, then what I'm going to ask you is, hey, let me look at, I'm going to take the information you gave me, how much you make per year, how much you have in the bank, and all that stuff. I myself am going to ask you, hey, let me get documentation of that. Just one pay stub. Your most recent bank statement, a screenshot of it, because this isn't being submitted to the loan yet. It's just so we can work with real numbers. So it's not just like, hey, oh yeah, I make this much, but then I see on your W-2, hey, this is half of what you said you make, or this is twice what you said you make. What's going on? So we can get the full story. So I can get you a pre-approval.
All right.
Once I have that, let's say you give me the screenshots of that stuff, because I don't need the actual document. You give me that today, I look at it, and I'm like, all right, good. Everything matches. Everything goes with it. You have a pre-approval. When I do it this way, because when I give you a pre-approval with those docs already in hand, or the proof of that stuff already in hand, you don't just have a pre-approval. You have a strong pre-approval. You have a pre-approval that I looked into. It's not, hey, you told me you make this much, and I'm like, okay, cool. And we didn't think of the fact that you were sick for 3 months. You for the women out there that have had babies, you missed 4 months because you stayed home with your baby and all that stuff, because that changes how much income is going to show. So once I have that stuff, that's why I do it that way. Some people don't do it that way, and that's fine too, because it's not a rule. I like doing it that way to give you a strong pre-qualification, saying, hey, I looked at docs and everything. I'll give it to Jonathan and be like, hey, here you go, make an offer. This is the most they can qualify for.
Awesome. So some of the things that you touched base on, were you looking for W-2s for the last 2 to 3 years?
Yeah.
All right. And then there was a pay stub for about 1 or 2 pay stubs.
1 or 2 pay stubs. If it's just to get you just to get the pre-approval, I can work with just a pay stub or the most recent pay stub, because I just look at the year to date and match it with what you told me you make.
All right.
Once we move forward and step, then it's a completely different process.
All right. What are a few other documents, just so that way, like, let's say one of these first-time home buyers out there are looking to buy a home tomorrow and they want to contact you. If they were to be ready completely for you and step foot in your office and say, hey, I want to get a pre-approval, aside the W-2 and the pay stub, are there any other documents that they would need?
Yeah, you probably need you would need your most recent bank statements. The other thing we also look at is we need, of course, your license, just like any other kind of application. We'd also, if you have any kind of 401k, anything like that, anything to show assets, to show how much money you have. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to use any of that money. It's just to show you as a strong buyer. So, hey, I have $10,000 in the bank, but I also have $25,000 in the 401k. If I show that, and let's say you're one of those people with kind of working on that credit score, then they're like, all right, well, yeah, their credit, they have the ability to pay this off easy. Yep. They have the ability to take care of this stuff. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do it or not going to do it, or you have to or you don't, but they know you have the ability to do it.
Right.
So it makes you a stronger candidate, a stronger buyer, which makes it easier to get you a pre-approval.
And then they would obviously need to have the work history associated with that as well.
Yeah. So when it comes to like the W-2 and the pay stubs, all that stuff gets verified down the road. This is again just to initiate the process of getting that pre-approval. So yeah, down the road, then they
start digging into those other documents.
Yeah, they'll reach out to your employer and do all that stuff.
Awesome. So I think that concludes everything that we had for you guys today. Just to recap real quick, this is for all you first-time home buyers, potential seasoned buyers as well, to make you guys aware of the things that you need prior to thinking about going to purchase a home. Just credit score, pre-approval, loan originator, real estate agent, problem solved. After this video is done, we're going to have Mr. Agudelo's information sitting there for a couple of seconds. That way you can write down his phone number. So once again, if you are a first-time home buyer, you think your credit score is down in the dirt and you don't know whether or not you can buy a home, but you've always wanted to, he can set you up with a plan, get you kind of figured out with the program that he has, and go from there. In addition, you can contact me if you are interested in homes. I am going to ask for a loan pre-approval first, and so we would all end up working together along the way to get you guys from point A to point B to buy in your first home, or second or third if you're lucky enough. Once again, this is Jonathan Bolano from Bolano Home over at Century 21, and Jonathan Agudelo with Freedom Mortgage. He's your loan originator over in Warwick, Rhode Island. We're happy that you guys joined us. My contact information's here. His is going to come next, and we will see you guys on the next video.